Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Start of March, 1st of March. Time to take a look at the pens I'm going to be using during March of 2024. So my theme this month, I thought I'd look at Australian pens and fill them with Australian inks. So my theme is Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. All the pens, here they are, there's a quick look at the 6 we're starting the month with. These are all pens that have been made in Australia, handmade pens. So I've got 4 different manufacturers and 6 pens to show you. I would have liked to have used an Aussie paper, I just haven't been able to find one, so I'll just be using my normal papers. So join me now down on the table and we'll take a look at the starting lineup for March of 2024. Welcome down to the table. So my notebook, this is my Oxford Optic paper. It's a B5 notebook. Haven't shown you the front of this for ages. Here we go. It's 90 GSM paper. Very nice fountain pen friendly paper is this Oxford Optic paper. And today I'm also using my blotting paper. I'm going to be using that to rest my hand on. It's very warm here. It's currently 32 Celsius and 35% humidity. I'm sweating a lot, so rather than sweating on the page, I'm going to be resting my hand and my arm on here to try and protect the paper a little bit. So March of 2024, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. That's my theme for the month. All of my pens, Australian handmade pens. Yes, some of them are using materials that are made in the States and other places, but they're handmade pens in Australia. And all the inks are by Australian manufacturers. So the first pen, this is by Just Turnings. This is a first of 3 pens from Just Turnings. There we go, just going to slowly turning this around. This is the Mimas model, and this is resin that he actually makes himself, so he pours it himself. This one's called Black Copper. Very nice. Let me hold it up a little bit towards the camera. Hopefully you can then see, predominantly black, but then we've got these like copper veins running through it. Really attractive, very nice. Cartridge converter. There we go. I think all today's pens use this exact same converter, which I think is a Schmidt K5. And all but one use Yoho nibs. This one is a Yoho nib, and it's a medium nib. There we go, this nice black nib. It's comfortable in the hand, very nice to use, fairly light feeling, but all the pens today are. So this is a Just Turnings Mimas. Just going to agitate this a bit as I'm talking. There's a shimmer ink in here, so I want to try and get some shimmer out, hopefully. The price for this pen, when I got it, was 170 Aussie dollars. The ink by Van Dieman. So Van Dieman is based in Tasmania. Just Turning, I believe he's based in Brisbane, which is Queensland. And so it's Van Dieman, and it's Twilight Mist. Gorgeous purple ink. What I've found with a lot of Van Dieman inks is I struggle to find pens that they actually work very well in. At the moment, with the testing I've been doing on this one doesn't seem too bad. If I hold it up, we can hopefully start to see there. I can see it, whether it comes over on the camera. We've got purple shimmer in there as well. That's where it's getting, I believe, this mist name from. Drying times. Let me just fetch that paper back in. So immediate. 10 seconds. Look at that, dry at 10 seconds. Please be aware, temperature. The temperature can have an effect. That's why I've made sure I've tried to let people know. So as I've already said, 32 Celsius, very hot today. So this is the Just Turnings Mimas, the first of the pens. Next up, we're going to go to a maker based in Melbourne, which is Platypus pens. And he makes 3D printed pens. So this is a 3D printed pen. The model is called the Model 10. He's got loads of colours. I decided to go for the green and the white, but he's got a massive range of colours. You need to contact him. He can then tell you what colours he's got. These pens are made to order. To be honest, all the pens are made to order. Very nice. Like all of today's pens, it's a cartridge converter. Again, I believe uses that same converter. One of the things he does do, there is a bit of weight to this pen. In the body, he does put a weight, which does help with rolling, so it always settles quite quickly. Also helps with adding some weight, so you actually have more of that heaviness, more of that tactile feeling. Means that when you're holding it in the hand, it's very well balanced. The section is 3D printed, so it does feel a little bit rougher than what we see with the resin pens. Again, you can understand that. And on here, I've got a broad Yoho nib. Here we go. So this is a Platypus pens, and it's the Model 10 with a broad nib. Again, when I got this, it's $185. Contact the makers if you want an updated price. No, it's not. When I bought this, it was 170 Aussie dollars. I'm jumping ahead to the next pen there. The ink, it's another Van Dieman ink. And it's Apple Island Green. Just a standard ink, this one. No shimmer, no sheen. And in this pen, this ink is actually performing quite well. The only other pen that I found that I really like this ink in is my Pilot Custom Heritage 92. But in here, so far with what testing I've done, seems to be working quite well. We're seeing shading coming through, we're seeing character. So again, it's going to be interesting as the month goes on how that goes. Drying times, immediate, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, and that's dry. So this is the Platypus Model 10. Very interesting. I do like the patterning on this. Just going to show that to the camera just before I put it away. Very nice. Move the page up ever so slightly, ready for the next pen. So the next one, we're going to go back to Just Turnings. So this is pen 2 of 3 from Just Turnings. Slightly different model. This one's called the Enceladus. Here we go. This is a Brooks Blanks, and it's Golden Blue Jay. Let me fetch this up towards the camera. Very pretty. So we've got silver, we've got gold, we've got blue, we've got black, we've got copper, we've got oranges, we've got yellows. It is a bit like looking at a bird's wings when it's beating, isn't it? And how they play in the wind. Really nice. And I'm showing this for all of them. Cartridge converter. All of them, apart from one, are resin pens. So you could potentially eyedropper them. I don't ever intend to do that. I'm quite happy using the converter. If you're going to do that, make sure you put plenty of silicone grease around them threads. Very similar in terms of shape to the Mimas. Nice and comfortable, quite light. The nib on here, this is Yoho, and this is a broad nib. There we go. So we've got Just Turnings. And it's the Enceladus. It's broad nibbed. I'm going to put in brackets GBJ, Golden Blue Jay. I've got another Enceladus model coming up shortly. Price wise, this is the one where it was $185 when I bought it. Again, contact him for updated pricing. The ink, this is by Robert Oster. And it's Terracotta. I was tempted to put Robert Oster Tranquility in here, but then I thought it's nice to have a slightly different colour, so I thought let's go for the Terracotta. Again, very nice shading ink. You can see loads of shading coming through already. Drying times, immediate, 10 seconds, nearly dry there. Let's do the 30-second test. as we expect there, that's nice and dry. Temperature, as I've said, is affecting this. The other thing which may be having an effect is I've got my desk fan on, which obviously is blowing over the paper. That will dry the ink a little bit faster. Might be worthwhile later in the year. I might think about doing a revisited, so using these exact same pairings and then coming back and maybe doing the drying times again, but during the colder months. I mean, here we've had a number of days over the past month where it's been over 40 degrees. I think they said up till this year the record was February had a maximum of 4 days where it was over 40, and at the moment we're up to 8 and we're not even at the end of February yet. So it's been a very hot month. So anyway, that's the Just Turnings Enceladus. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. So we're going to go for a different manufacturer again. This one, when I bought it, he was based in Sydney, but he's just relocated, I believe, to Adelaide, which is in South Australia. This is ThatPenBloke, and it's called the Fountain Pen. And this material, it was an experimental pour that he did. So there was only 2 or 3 that he actually used in it, and it's called Something Special. Very nice, very unusual. So we've got like purples, we've got reds, we've got yellows. I see some browns. Then where the colours are mixing, I see some greens. Really nice. And if I look at the section, I see more of the green there coming through, more browns there in the section. This is cartridge converter. Of today's pens, this is the one that is by far the longest. That's interesting. I wonder where that's just come from. Looks like we've got inside the pen. That's interesting. So that's something I need to look at. Let me just pop this lid back on and clear that up. I need to keep an eye on that over the next few weeks. Yeah, it looked like there was some powder inside there. Could be because the heat's been drying out inside. So I'll need to keep an eye on that. The nib on here, this is another Yoho nib, and again this is a broad. There we go. So this is ThatPenBloke fountain pen. With a broad nib. Price wise, this was $190. Like I've said for all the others, contact him for updated pricing. The ink is by Oster. Ryde green. Nice bright green ink. I do like my greens. And I decided on that mainly because we've got some green coming here in that section. Drying times. So we got immediate. 10 seconds. Nearly dry again. 30 seconds. There we go. Nice and dry. So that's the ThatPenBloke fountain pen. We're going to go for another Just Turnings pen. This is the pen number 3 of 3. Again, it's the Enceladus model. This time it's got a matte finish. And the material, another Brutz Blanks. This one is Elvenwood. Bought this just for this material. I've been eyeing Elvenwood up for quite a while. And it's one you don't see many makers using. So when he showed a blank of it, I very quickly replied to him and said, yes, please. Let me just fetch this up. It's resin, it's not wood. And with this matte finish though, it does have that nice wooden feel to it. Beautiful colours there. Reason I wanted this material is I'm very much a fan of fantasy books. And in the fantasy books, my favourite race by far are the elves. So I thought, yeah, Elvenwood, that ties a number of my interests together. So that's why I went for that. It's another one where we've got a cartridge converter. You can see there we've got bright ink in here. On here, this is the only pen that does not have that Yoho nib. This has got a cypress nib. I believe they used to be called Mistress Cypress. This is a broad cypress nib. And what I've found with this, in my little bit of testing, the nib is slightly narrower than a broad Yoho nib. So we've got here a just turnings. Enceladus. Again, it's broad, and then in brackets, it's the Elvenwood. The price for this pen, 195 Aussie dollars. The ink by Dieman, and it's Deciduous Beech. So the reason I picked this ink, you know, it's a nice bright orange, but I thought Deciduous Beech, that's a tree. Elvenwood is meant to be a tree. There's a link between them, so that's why I went for this pairing. This is another ink which I struggle with a lot of pens. They really seem to struggle with this ink. I don't think this is the right ink for this pen either, but we're going to have to test it through and see how it goes, but certainly doesn't look right. Drying times. So we go immediate, 10 seconds, 30 seconds. Yet again there, 30 seconds and we're dry. So that's the Just Turnings Enceladus in Elvenwood. The final pen for the month. This is a wooden pen. This is by Pens by Casey. He's based in Victoria, just outside of Melbourne. This is a wooden pen, and it's made from a tree that actually grows not too far from where I live, which was one of the reasons when he said about it, I thought, yeah, that'd be really nice. The model is called the Mokuzai, and it's the Mokuzai 13. I believe the 13 is to do with the width of the section. So this is a wooden pen. Beautiful looking pen here. Just look at that as I'm turning that around. So pretty. Nice. Again, not overly heavy. What is done as well is the entire pen is lined with ebonite. So we've got an ebonite section, ebonite lining in the body, ebonite lining in the cap, so I don't need to worry about the ink drying out on the nib. Cartridge converter, we've just seen that. And this is another Yoho nib there, standard Yoho nib, and this is a 1.1 stub nib. It's another nice pen, nice fit in the hand. I like the extra width on this wood, and he's finished it in gloss, looks very attractive. So let's move this up here for the writing. So we've got Pens by Casey, and it's Mokuzai 13 with a 1.1 stub nib. Price wise, you're looking at about $400 for this pen. Again, contact Casey for pricing. Depending what materials you want, what body shape you want, what size you want, all depends on what the price is. So well worth getting in touch with Casey. I contacted him via Facebook. He sells through Facebook and I also believe Instagram. The ink is by Robert Oster. And it's Caffe Crema. Beautiful brown ink. I think it goes well with this ink. Well, it goes well with the pen as well as the ink. The previous ink I've had in here was Robert Oster Aussie Brown again. I think they've worked really well together as a combo. I do like with the Caffe Crema, to be honest, one of my favourite brown inks. Loads and loads of shading, as you can see. Very nice. And with this pen, with this nib, writes really well. Drying times, So we got immediate, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, and this one we get to do a 1 minute test. After a minute there, that was nice and dry. Now you may have noticed a couple of times on here, especially on this one, I had an issue with getting the actual pen to start writing. I have noticed there's a little bit of a sweet spot on this pen. So that's something, again, I will try and pay a bit of attention to as I'm going through. Maybe I need to just get a little bit of micro mesh to the nib. The other thing is, when I'm doing these videos, my hand isn't exactly at the same angle I would write at. So that does also impact it. So that's something I just wanted to point out. So that's the pens by Caffe Mokuzai 13. Going to swap on over the view, fetching this month's pen wrap, and we'll put the pens away, ready to start using. Here we've got the pen wrap. This is a Baby Yoda Groku wrap. My wife makes these for me. So again, we're trying a slightly different thing with the lid this time to see if we can get it better look or look nicer when it's rolled up. So the pens for this month, we're starting with the Just Turn-Ins Mimas. We've then got the Platypus Model 10. The Just Turn-Ins Enceladus Golden Blue Jay. ThatPenBloke Fountain Pen. A Just Turn-Ins Enceladus, this time in the Elvenwood. And finally, pens by Caffe. There we go, the Mokuzai 13. So they're all in. Let's bring the lid down, roll it up, and then got a different tie this time as well. There we go. There's my pen wrap ready to go for the month of March of 2024. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I've been looking forward to this month for quite a while to use just Australian made pens. I know some of the resins they're made outside of Australia, but the actual pen itself is handmade here in Aussie. What do you think of these? How about the inks? Again, focusing on Australian inks. That's limited a bit because I've only got inks from Robert Oster and Van Dieman, but at least it lets me use Aussie pens and Aussie inks. What are your thoughts on pens from your country? I know in some countries, like the States, there's loads of makers, whereas here in Australia, we've got a smaller number. Please drop any comments down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.